Welcome to Glutened, the podcast where we amplify the voices of those living with celiac disease and allergies or intolerances. Each episode offers a unique perspective and invaluable insight into life with celiac disease. I'm your host, Maisa, and together let's share stories, foster understanding, and build a supportive community for everyone. On today's episode, we have Adam, who's been diagnosed celiac since he was 4 years old. Thank you for listening. Please subscribe, follow, and share. Let's chat. Can you share your journey with being diagnosed with celiac disease and how it has impacted your life?
Okay, yeah, so unlike many people, I was diagnosed a really long time ago. I was 4 or 5 at the time I was diagnosed. But I had been very unwell for a long time. My mum had taken me back and forth to the doctors. And for probably 8 months to a year, the doctors just kept turning around saying there's nothing wrong with him, just getting some fresh air.
Okay.
And I was like, yeah, great, okay, that's fine. But at this stage, like, I don't know if you've looked too much at my Instagram, but there's a picture of me with my stomach is so bloated.
Okay.
And that was just before I was diagnosed as celiac. So if you're not already following me, have a look at that picture and you can see what I'm talking about there. I was so fragile. I was tiny, absolutely tiny. I was the smallest child around. Fragile, is that a good way of putting it? I was very fragile. I was weak.
Yeah.
I was also anemic. So like there's again, go back to my Instagram here. There was another photo of me on Instagram where I'm literally just passed out at the bottom of the stairs. Now, for like a 4 or 5 year old, I should have been full of beans. I should have been running around driving my mum absolutely crazy. But I wasn't. I was just asleep. And obviously this is just because of like a lack of nutrients and nutrition in my body. So the only thing at the time that my mum said pretty much kept me going was milk and fruit. They were about the only two things that kept me going because the rest of the stuff my body just rejected. I was often very sick, sort of like vomiting, and pretty much all the time I was so unwell. But yeah, fresh air apparently.
Yeah. Fresh air. Right. What challenges have you faced in managing a gluten-free lifestyle, both personally and in social situations? And I'm gonna add to that, you've been diagnosed a long time ago, so it was probably challenging for your mom to even find you gluten-free food back then, right?
Yeah, I'll go into that now. So like over the years, it's had a huge impact on my life. Well, although I don't really know any different because like I said, I'm not like someone that's just been diagnosed in their 30s or 40s. I've never had a loaf of bread from the bakery. So I actually don't miss a lot. Like what other people do. But don't get me wrong, I am human, and bakeries smell amazing. And I'd absolutely love it if Greg's made a gluten-free sausage roll.
Oh, one day.
One day. And it's a little bit from my like childhood here. So growing up, obviously, because celiac disease was so new and the gluten-free and allergies and stuff like that, not many people knew about it. So when I was sort of like 5, 6, 7, 8 years old, I didn't get invited to like other children's parties anymore.
Oh no.
There's such a lack of understanding of allergies and intolerance, especially gluten-free diets. But my mum, bless her, she always used to make me a packed lunch to take with me when I did get invited.
Oh, she's lovely.
Those were the days where most gluten-free items come on prescription, and you couldn't just pop into like your Tesco's, your Asda, your Morrison's, just to go and buy yourself some crisps or some biscuits, etc. There wasn't any. The aisles were empty. But yeah, don't get me wrong. Like because I don't really know any different. I've still managed to get up. I've still managed to go traveling like anybody else in their like mid-20s.
Yeah.
But instead of going out for like street food and eating out with everybody, it was I've got to cook myself. I've got to maintain this diet. And I find a lot of things now. I'm so strict now. With regards to like going on holidays and things like that. And not a lot of people. I'm not sure how many people avoid going on holidays being celiac because they're not sure what they can eat. I found that the Tui Blue range, our hotels are really good at catering.
Okay.
The different requirements, the ideal situation is you stay in a hotel that isn't solely a buffet.
Yeah.
So you can then avoid cross contamination. But if that isn't possible, I've learned the best thing to do is to speak to like the food and beverage manager.
Okay.
I went to a hotel in Cyprus, and the guys literally they couldn't do enough for me. They said, "Do you want us to cook meals for you individually each day, or do you want to be first to the buffet?"
Oh.
Uh, and things like that. So yeah, really good. Just make sure you ask that question before you like book anything, and don't be afraid to go on holiday just because you're worried about that gluten-free diet.
Yeah. That's nice of them, though. They
Yeah,
went
yeah,
above
really
and
good.
beyond, didn't they? That's good.
Yeah,
Right. Another question here I've got is, have you found any particular resources or support networks helpful in adopting to a gluten-free lifestyle? I mean, it's been a long time for you, so you're already an expert.
yeah. I wouldn't say I'm an expert. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of people out there that know a lot more than what I do. However, I'm just sharing my personal experiences. I'm not going to lie. I found this question quite difficult to answer.
Okay.
The reason being is that I've always had to adapt, and as I mentioned, I didn't have a lifestyle before this change. I was a child.
Yeah.
But what I would recommend for anybody that has recently been diagnosed is that platforms such as Instagram have a lot of food bloggers. You've got the Celiac dietitian, really good.
Yeah.
Lots of accounts to follow. And what I try and do is I try and follow as many accounts as I can. And then I'll look at everybody's recipes and I'll be like, that looks so good. I'm going to make that. And I kind of challenge myself online to be more creative with what I'm trying to like cook and stuff like that as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a tough question for that one for me.
Okay. As I said earlier, you're an expert already, so you don't really have any
Yeah,
challenge.
yeah, it's hard. Like there was nobody like Becky XL and people
No.
like that. When I was growing up, it was literally find the recipe book and replace ingredients like for like. And do you know what? I still do that today.
Yeah, okay. Because you're used to it, aren't you? So you
Yeah,
just do it.
yeah. So just swap them out.
Makes sense. Right. Can you share any memorable positive or negative experience related to your celiac condition, especially in the workplace or social setting?
Yeah, sure. So I work in a professional food environment, dealing with importation of food into the United Kingdom. At times, I'm required to physically examine food.
Okay.
When I first joined my employer, I told them that I'm a celiac. They did have some questions surrounding this, and they did ask me during my interview. I made them aware that I wouldn't be able to if, for example, they're going to present a big container full of wheat flour to go and expect it. The reason for this is as soon as you open them container doors, it's like take away the container. Just use a bag of flour, for example. You open a bag of flour, you're going to get them dust particles. They're going to fly up. Now imagine 20,000 tons of that in one container. That's gonna cause some serious harm. There's going to be a big dust cloud. I don't know if I'm going to inhale that. I'll probably wear a mask. I don't know how my skin's going to react to it. I don't know how my body's going to react to it. So I said, if we're ever in that situation, then I strongly recommend not sending me. And yeah, they've been absolutely no problem at all.
Brilliant.
So let's take this back. Let's take this back a scale because obviously, like I said, I work in professional food. 30 years on, this still makes me laugh. This because I still can't join in on other people's birthday cakes. So I still can't take part in the office cakes. I mean, if you're in the office and it's your birthday, you're meant to bring cakes in for everyone.
Yeah.
But don't get me wrong, I've got one colleague that understands my gluten-free diet. She understands celiac disease, and she never leaves me out. So if she's making like cheesecake or anything like that for anyone,
that's lovely.
She'll make me a gluten-free one as well.
Oh.
So, and do you know what? I wouldn't just. I'm very careful of who I let make food for me.
Yeah.
However, with her understanding and obviously working in the food industry, yeah, it's really kind and it's really sweet, and it's just like, oh, there's really nice people out there still. So yeah, and I trust her awareness and I trust her understanding of it. So yeah,
that's very thoughtful of you. Very nice.
Yeah, it's very thoughtful, and they're really positive work-based scenarios around being a celiac. So yeah,
that's good. So in terms of product labeling and restaurant menus, what improvement or accommodation would you like to see to make your experience better?
Yeah, no problem. So again, I work with a lot of food labels. I check a lot of compliance on food products. I see some brilliant labeling, and I also see some terrible labeling. For me, the products that I like the most
Mm-hmm.
are Marks and Spencers, and the reason for that is the labeling is so clear. Sometimes even stating that although the product may not contain gluten, it's still not safe for celiacs, which is such a vital statement. And I'd like to see that more on food products as people start to understand celiac disease more often. That statement there is brilliant because I'm really quick at checking ingredients, and I'll come through something. I go, yeah, I'm really happy with that. Put it in my basket, and then oh, hang on, there you go, in a nice blue writing, nice and clear, not suitable for celiacs, and that is just predominantly down to the factory. So yeah, no, all credit to the factory. You know, they've got to produce food for other people as well. Yeah, the flour has to be present in some places. So it's just nice to be. You feel safe buying their products. I'm not sure what else it is with their labeling. Is it the font? I don't know. Is it the pretty packaging? Yeah, probably.
It's very smart. I should say it's a very smart packaging. It attracts you for some reason. I don't know why.
It does. It does really attract you. And like I said, for me, being able to read something really quickly, really clearly, it's ideal.
Yeah.
So yeah, you know, that's one thing I'd like to. That's one thing I'd like to see. I'd like to see that more often on more products.
Yeah.
That
Do you
level
eat out a lot?
I used to. So in restaurants, what I find myself doing is, again, I'm going to refer back to my Instagram. I've put in a set of questions that I always ask when I go. So it's like, let's just take one of them, for example. Do you have a dedicated fryer for gluten-free chips?
Yeah.
For example. Now, if that was stated on the menu, I wouldn't have to concern myself. So I could literally know that, right, I can have chips on this one. So I could go, right, I'll be a bloke, yeah, I'll go. I could have steak and chips. So there you go, a nice cut of red meat, and I know I can have the chips. I remember going to some restaurants where I feel like, yeah, I'll have steak and chips, and they go, oh, it comes with new potatoes. I'm obviously the same. It's not the same.
No.
So yeah, I'd like to see that statement on more menus. For something that's like 4 words, 5 words, we have a gluten-free fryer. It saved me asking so many questions, and yeah, I feel a little better about dining out and stuff like that. What I'd also find would be really helpful is for staff working in the food industry, like people serving, waiters, waitresses. I'd like to see a bit better training. I sometimes feel that when I go out to restaurants and say that I'm a celiac, people then they panic a little bit. And then when they panic, that makes me panic, going, they don't know what they're doing. Is he going to pass the information over correctly to the chef?
How can I trust?
Yeah. How can I then build that level of trust? How can I then feel comfortable? How can I then feel safe that what I'm eating is not going to cause me any harm?
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd like to see them just remain calm about it. But yeah, so yeah, better training for restaurants and stuff like that. I know there's probably like a high turnover in that industry, but before you employ someone, make sure that they're up to speed with like food allergens and things like that. And if they don't know, don't be afraid to ask the person a question as well, because I would rather somebody ask me 10 times instead of getting one, which could mean that I effectively suffer for nearly 3 weeks.
That's right. And sometimes they know that you have to have gluten-free if you're celiac, but they don't know, as you mentioned, that you have to have a separate fryer for your chips and stuff.
Yeah, so it's small bits like that. Like I went to a restaurant last week, and they what do? They said, oh, we've got a gluten-free roll. I was like, oh, brilliant. So I waited. So they brought the gluten-free roll out, and then 2 minutes later they brought out a separate tub of butter with its own knife. And I was like, well, there you go. You've really understood my allergy there. Instead of just giving one tub of butter for everybody to share and get their knives in and cut their bread out and stuff like that. Yeah.
So it's spot on. They know what's going on.
Yeah. So it gives you that reassurance, like, oh, the person that might have taken your thing your order might not have been aware, but hang on, the chefs are on it.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
Yeah, really happy with that.
Very good. Right. So what advice do you have for others who are newly diagnosed with celiac disease or those who are looking to support someone with this condition?
Yeah, no problem. So the first thing that I would recommend that people do is join the Food Standards Agency.
Mhm.
Again, I'm going to refer back to my Instagram. There's a link to my page to save you from scrolling through loads of internet pages. But yeah, jump onto the Food Standards Agency and sign up to product recalls. I see these come through at work regularly, and it's quite scary the amount of stuff that gets recalled.
Really?
Yeah, you can sign up to it. It's free. It doesn't cost
Yeah.
you anything, and you'll just get product recalls. There was a couple of products I think I posted about it on Instagram. I'm not going to sit here and name drop like the supermarkets names and stuff like that because, quite frankly, I can't remember. If not, I would.
I will. That's
but yeah, they sold a load of products and then recalled them because a batch number may have contained gluten. And it's like, you've clearly advertised as gluten-free. The ingredients have said that they're gluten-free, and now all of a sudden it's a may contain. So you want to recall it. Yeah, that's not good enough.
No. And they don't know what damage they're doing to us.
No. And you're not, as an individual, you're not big enough on your own to take on these big corporations.
That's right.
Don't have much of a voice. So yeah, that's one of the tips I'd give. Make sure you do that because it could eventually save you. It doesn't take long to save, to look at save you. You're not going to die. It's not going to take you long to check a batch number on a product. I might actually add something in about that on my Instagram in a few days. So
Sure.
That one. That said again earlier, follow as many like gluten-free bloggers on social media as possible. They'll help you with small things like you may not have considered. For example, stock cubes, mustard, jars of sauces. Give them a check. Make sure that they're actually gluten-free as per the ingredients. Another tip that I'd get is a bit of a money-saving one as well. You don't always have to go to the gluten-free aisle where they bump the prices up. Check the ingredients of other products. An extra 10 minutes reading labels in a supermarket can save you a lot of money.
Yes.
And also stop you feeling unwell for weeks. This one here is more of my personal opinion. It's up to other people if they want to do this. However, I choose not to. And they are the words may contain.
Yeah.
You see them on a lot of packaging. I used to eat them for years. But now I thought, do you know what? No, I'm cutting them out. And since I've cut them out, yeah, I'm feeling a lot better, a lot more sharper. There's a lot less brain fog going on.
Okay.
So yeah, cut out as many may contains as possible. I know it's hard to give up the Walker's crisps, but all of them are may contains. Don't eat them. Yeah. This one's quite big for me as well because I've always sort of like to keep myself fit, like to keep myself healthy. So make sure you exercise regularly. If you have children that are celiac, get them into a sport. Show them that exercising is not a chore. It's a lifestyle. This will help in the long run. Obviously, with the exercise, the cardiovascular, the weight training, it's going to help your bone density. It's going to help your muscle definition. And, you know, even if you're just being diagnosed in your 50s or 60, longer walks, cycling, all of that will improve your muscle definition and keep your bone density up as well. So, yeah, I strongly recommend exercising as well.
That's a very good piece of advice there. A lot of people think that if they eat well, they don't have to exercise, but it goes hand in hand, doesn't it?
It goes hand in hand. Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Right, last question, Adam. That was quick. How has celiac disease influenced your perspective on food, health, and overall well-being?
Yeah, sure. So, God, I love saying this, but if you follow me, you'll see that I've made a huge lifestyle change in 2024. I'm giving up ultra-processed foods, particularly gluten-free ultra-processed foods. And just for a quick briefing, that's your cakes, that's your biscuits, that's your bread. I can't 100% give it up because we're also predominantly dairy-free householders here as well.
Oh, are you? Okay.
And we use dairy replacements such as cream and butter. However, I think I'm around about 95% on a non-processed food diet now. Lifestyle. I don't like the word diet. I'm not going to lie, it is tough. The lifestyle wouldn't be for everyone. It requires a lot of cooking and a lot of meal prepping. But I'm just I'm coming up to about 2 weeks now, and I've had a reduction in symptoms. And for the first time in a long time, I can actually say this comfortably: is I actually feel good. And yeah, and I said, like, I've always led a healthy and active lifestyle, so being a celiac isn't a reason not to do that.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Thank you very much. That was brilliant. Thank
Thank
you.
you.